Before we begin, I just want to give a quick thank you to my friend Chrissy for making a great logo for my channel. I'm really excited because I could have never done anything like this, and she's really talented. Her name's Chrissy Ungruhe, so go check her out, commission her. She's great. She will not disappoint. And also, I want to give a big thank you to everyone that gave me their birthday, that allowed me to look a little bit deeper into who they are. I really appreciated this. This was really fun for me to do. So if you want and you're seeing this and your birthday wasn't on here, please send me your birthday. I would love to do another video on this because, like I said, it was really fun and it was very, it was a great learning experience for me. So continue to do that. We're going to be using The Secret Language of Birthdays that was written by Gary Goldschneider and Joost Elfers. I hope that I pronounced that right. I want to go ahead and preface this by saying that astrology is a tool. It is used to better understand your life and your circumstances. I used it when I was going through a really tough time, and it was really helpful for me. Spirituality saved my life, and so I want to be able to share that with others and help anyone that may need a little push in their spiritual journey. So if you submitted your birthday and your birthday was not on here, I apologize. This was just a lot of content to get through, and I am going to be doing another one of these videos because, like I said, I really enjoyed it. So if you don't see your birthday on this one, you will see it. I promise it'll be coming. Keep an eye open for that, and let's just jump right in. 10th, the day of daring. April 10th people have the courage to be themselves and to see their projects and ideas brought to fruition. Although they are not afraid of opposition and of fighting for their way of life, those born on this day do not seek out confrontation. They are not daredevils in any sense of the word. Their courage is more a kind of moral fortitude based on strong principles and simple common sense. Often, a career change figures prominently in the lives of April 10th people. An earlier preparation for a career, perhaps one decided on too hastily or through parental pressure, must often be put aside once their true calling comes along. The importance of finding this true calling cannot be overemphasized. Though, as mentioned, April 10th people are not reckless types. To others, they may appear to be taking too many risks. They may even be thought foolhardy. Yet in hindsight, their daring is sometimes appreciated and the risks involved seen as quite shrewdly assessed. To the April 10th person, it may not have seemed risky at all. It is true that many April 10th people have a lifelong fascination with gambling, not only in life, but at the actual card table or casino as well. It is the thrill of competition and, of course, the fun of assessing their chances that drives them on, which is so crazy because this person loves the casino. We're always there when we're together, and that's great. April 10th people have a real love for their profession. This, coupled with a love of independence, makes a normal family life difficult for them. Yet, paradoxically, they have a great need to feel settled, and in this respect will be extremely dependent on an understanding mate or friend who will always be there for them. In fact, their relationships tend toward the unconventional. There are two distinct types of April 10th stars. The first is the loner, working on solo projects, developing a style, craft, or talent in relative isolation from others. The second type is the full-blown social star, a leader who seeks out followers. April 10th people of the second type have a missionary zeal which can galvanize others to their cause in the most energetic fashion. Unlike the introverted April 10th person who devotes his or her energy to a personal, often technical study, the extroverted April 10th person spends their energy organizing group or social endeavors, often with a grand design. But though they are outwardly oriented and wish to be appreciated, these realistic gamblers have no time for sycophants or hangers-on, who are there to provide a kind of false pride or conceit. More highly evolved April 10th people of both types recognize that blinding egotism or belief in their own infallibility may prove fatal in the next encounter. True warriors, they know their limitations well, and although they push them to the limit, rarely overstep. Those born on this day feel little but disdain for wild schemes or shoddy planning. They are happiest when they can conceive a plan or idea and carry it through in a single master stroke. Your tarot card is the Wheel of Fortune, and for your advice, Let up in your intensity and beware of your obsessive compulsive side. Enjoy the simple pleasures of life. Personal success is just as important as social success. Follow your heart sometimes, not always your head. Learn to turn off your motor and cool your heels. And your meditation is simply seeing is an act of creation. April 18th, the day of vigorous defense. Those born on April 18th are vigorous defenders of the faith. They are protectors not only of their own interests, but of those of the less fortunate as well. Often the causes they champion and the new ideas they seek to implement are right at the forefront of the times in which they live. Those born on this day are often known as progressive thinkers who fight for their beliefs. Yet they are not radicals at heart. They are traditionalists who wish to apply their experience and thorough knowledge of what has gone before to the present situation. April 18th people are aware of their appearance and their public image. How others see them in daily life is very important to them. Consequently, they will rarely, if ever, be caught making fools of themselves in public. In like manner, they are extremely careful to present themselves to their business associates or coworkers in a sober and reasonable light. It is also important to them that their families not only love them but respect them as well. All April 18th people carry a certain nobility about them. If this aura of nobility and honor is in any way besmirched, they will suffer very deeply and will stop at nothing to put it right. However, during this period of suffering, they may get quite deeply depressed, and it can be quite some time before they ever gain the energy and composure needed to take action. Those born on this day have a strong sense of loyalty, and their defensive instincts extend not only to friends and family, but to professional colleagues or clients as well. They should be aware of making enemies in this way, and sometimes must allow others to fight their own battles. April 18th people often have an emotionally deep and complex bond with one of their parents, usually a boy with his mother or a girl with her father. They may indeed depend very heavily on the moral support and approval of this parent. It is on the basis of this very important bond that the child will form their ideas of morality as well as how to behave in society while growing up. It is therefore of the greatest importance that problems, for it is often a difficult and stormy relationship with this parent, be worked out by adolescents so that those born on this day can get on with their lives and not get stuck psychologically. A crucial area of growth for April 18th people lies in fully unlocking intimate affection and love. If love is bottled up, an embittered personality may result that will always feel a victim of the blows of the world. If, on the other hand, love and affection are free-flowing, there is no limit to the positive energy April 18th people can bestow on those around them. Your tarot is the moon. Your advice is don't be too defensive or eager to sort things out. Allow yourself to be more trusting and relaxed. Be as accepting of others as possible, and if they don't bother you, just let them be. Keep a lid on your anger. And it says your meditation is never take anything too seriously. May 19th, the day of heartfelt persuasion. May 19th people have plenty of energy, all right, but have to learn how to keep it under control and direct it well. This is indeed crucial because many born on this day have great leadership potential. Although they often go through trying times, both physically and emotionally, they emerge successful when their purpose is focused. Their energy can be quite elemental, like the weather. It is perhaps best put to use in long-range projects involving the building of structure in social or family life. May 19th people are usually self-taught and value a natural approach to their work. They get in trouble, however, when they overuse logical and reasoning faculties at the expense of intuition. When they think too far into things, they may end up quite removed from their original intentions, for it is the prompting of their heart which is noblest in them. Indeed, their heart is like a ship's compass that keeps them on course, and they should look to it for direction. For both men and women born on this day, a powerful figure of the same sex, usually older, often becomes a central person in their lives. If they encounter such an individual in their formative years, the person may become a kind of teacher or initiator into the ways of the world. May 19th, people can well find inspiration in books or in works of art, but until they meet a flesh and blood figure who takes an interest in them, they may be confused as to how they can best utilize their talents or take their place in society. And what are their natural gifts? First and foremost, their talent to communicate. Second, a depth of charisma. Third, an ability to conceive friends, family members, and colleagues of what the proper, to convince friends, family members, and colleagues of what the proper course of action is at any given time. For highly evolved persons born on this day, eloquence is a powerful tool. For the less evolved, it may merely manifest as glibness or superficiality. May 19th charm and persuasive talents can make for an extremely inspiring person, or in the worst case, a kind of con artist. There is a definite need for May 19th people to submit to some form of spiritual training in their lives, as well as a well-regulated social structure in which to operate. Sometimes overly concerned either for their own material security or that of others, often in a social sense, they can get caught up in a web of materialism. The most difficult thing for May 19th people is to avoid entanglements, perhaps of their own making, and remain free to move. This conflict between fixed commitments and a desire to be free can be the central struggle in their lives. They must learn how to create freedom for themselves within the boundaries of responsible positions. Otherwise, they will face great frustration. Your tarot is the Sun. Your advice is sometimes lead others to their own devices. Don't be so controlling. Follow what is best in you and allow yourself freedom. When you feel your temperature rise, put some distance between yourself and what is bothering you. Try not to overreact. Let go of your attachments at least once in your life. And your meditation is there is man's time and there is God's time. June 4th, the day of critical expertise. Because of their quick minds and facility with language, June 4th people generally attract attention. When speaking on a subject, they can be positively inspirational, but when expressing disagreement, they are rarely nuanced or diplomatic. Although not necessarily suited for leadership roles, those born on this day may nonetheless find themselves at the top. They can feel insecure in such a position and must therefore guard against autocratic behavior. Ultimately, they are happier when working as an empowered member of a team. June 4th people should beware of surrendering their cherished flexibility in favor of strict rules, dogma, and dubious obligation. Those born on this day are never happier than when in the learning stages of a profession or interest, acting the role of student or apprentice and working to perfect themselves. It is important that they always have new projects on the horizon because they can quickly grow dissatisfied with any sort of constricting work that limits their development. In the worst cases, they can take out these frustrations on their family, friends, and coworkers. June 4th people should put their verbal skills to work in a constructive way because their critical observations, no matter how insightful, can arouse antagonism. In a word, they should focus less on objective truth and more on human relations. Cultivating a sense of humor relatively free of sarcasm can contribute greatly to this end. This person is the most sarcastic person I know, and I love it. And that's great. There is no denying the technical skills of those born on this day, and they often become experts in their field or at least sought out after in the workplace. Many June 4th people not only excel at what they do, but are able to bring a healthy dose of structure to their environment. Though they may have mixed feelings about making decisions for others, their organizational skills are impressive. And they are capable of molding diverse individuals into a cohesive and effectual unit. June 4th people usually give weight to their intuition, their hunches, and rightly so. They should never make the mistake of thinking too much and allowing the mental part of them to undermine this intuitive power. Often workaholics, they must guard an emotional life likely to dry up if they throw themselves into too many endeavors. Physical urges, both for recreation and sex, should not be suppressed but expressed. Those born on this day must take time to demonstrate affection for those they love and to engage in simple daily acts of kindness. Accepting affection is not a problem for June 4th people, but accepting help can well be. Learning to both give and receive is an important and ongoing part of their development as human beings. And your tarot is the Emperor. And your advice is tune into your higher self. Seek guidance on your path. Don't be afraid to ask for help. It will be given. Accept yourself as you are, and likewise be more loving and forgiving of others. Take frequent vacations from your work. Learn to do nothing sometimes and empty your mind. And your meditation is the term best friend may be a setup for betrayal. And seeing as I consider you my best friend, I hope this is not true or has to do with something in your past. June 20th, the day of ecstatic appeal. June 20th people have a way of arousing strong emotions and bringing others out. Exceptional people born on this day can even experience or allow others to experience a loss of rational orientation or a heightened state. Such a state in extreme cases may be trance-like, ecstatic, even hysterical. Powers of ESP, psychic, and predictive abilities are not uncommon among June 20th people. Indeed, those born on this day must guard their rationality. They should periodically examine their logic, for it is employed to serve purely emotional ends. For if it is employed to serve purely emotional ends, then it may not be reasonable at all. Persuading others in and of itself is extremely attractive to many June 20th people. Unfortunately, they may not have the highest tolerance for ideas contrary or, as they see it, threatening to their own. In fact, some June 20th people wish there to be an unspoken feeling of consensus in their social environment, which supports and sympathizes with their often extreme points of view. No matter how sensible or rational June 20th people appear, there is usually an underlying irrationality in their makeup. Because of this, excitement and emotionality seem to swirl around them. Neither they themselves nor those with whom they are involved may recognize the fact that much of the excitement, instability, and adventure that arises may be a result of forces springing from the deep within June 20th nature. This is not to suggest that the lives of June 20th people need be chaotic or formless. Indeed, to the extent of their magic powers, those born on this day are not only capable of arousing emotion, but of controlling and directing it as well. Despite having a profound hold on the feelings of parents, friends, children, and others close to them, those born around the time of the summer solstice are often unaware of the extent of their influence. Because of this, suggestions, preferences, and wishes may be exchanged on a purely unconscious level. It is incumbent on June 20th people, therefore, no matter how much they would prefer to deny it, to become aware of their power to impact on others and direct this power away from wrongdoing. It is important for them to work on promoting themselves the simple human attributes of kindness, consideration, and acceptance, while alleviating the root causes of jealousy, anger, or envy. June 20th people must learn to express their emotions in a free-flowing yet moderate manner.
Let him back in then.
Although June 20th people are ultra sensitive to emotion, they may not always be sensitive to the concerns of others at any given time. Thus, it is important for them to work on promoting in themselves the simple human attributes of kindness, consideration, and acceptance. while alleviating the root causes of jealousy, anger, or envy. June 20th people must learn to express their emotions in a free-flowing yet moderate manner and to cultivate a sense of calm internally and externally. Your tarot is the Judgment or Awakening card. Your advice is to be aware of your deeper feelings and the effect you may be having on others. Keep a cool head. Use your brains and express your emotions. Don't try to stuff your feelings down inside. It won't work. And your meditation is either forgive or forget. July 2nd, the day of the disconnected unconscious. July 2nd people, like all empaths, are strongly emotive and receptive to the feelings of others. Those born on this day generally fall into two main types: those that keep such intense feelings to themselves and those that flamboyantly express them. The more repressed July 2nd person must learn to loosen up, while a flamboyant July 2nd person may have to temper the abundance of his or her emotional output. July 2nd people are often assailed by personal doubts and a lack of self-confidence. Such insecurity may not be apparent to others, especially when those born on this day are well accomplished. Part of the reason for that is that most July 2nd people do not wish to burden others with their problems. Overcoming doubts for them can be a private matter, and they are not quick to seek positive reinforcement from others. July 2nd people lead a very active fantasy life, but of course much of this activity remains relegated to the unconscious world of dreams or daydreaming, never to be considered in an active light. Nonetheless, the key of self-understanding for a July 2nd person is in recognizing the effect of unconscious fantasies on the emotional life and self-image. Thus, in a sense, their conscious and unconscious minds have to get to know each other. Self-examination of this kind requires time and mental energy, which in the case of July 2nd people may be largely spent on daily concerns. But if those born on this day make an investment in personal development, it may pay practical dividends in improved health and work performance or even lead to major life changes. Indeed, a socially successful July 2nd person is often able to put a well-integrated fantasy life directly in service of their career. Love partners of July 2nd people may play an important role in encouraging such psychological work. Those born on this day have an emotional richness and depth of feeling which is well worth the effort to bring out. However, July 2nd people are also extremely sensitive and do not react well to what they perceive as confrontation, accusation, or blame. Because they are so sensitive, their armor must be dismantled rather than pierced. And this takes a great deal of patience and understanding indeed. Extroverted July 2nd people can be confused when their well-meant but overly emotional expression is misunderstood. A July 2nd introvert may be unable to handle the aggressiveness of others and in confrontational situation is likely to either explode or more often withdraw. When July 2nd people succeed in balancing their emotional and fantasy life, they exude a stability that elicits more desirable responses from others. Your tarot is the Priestess. Your advice is get in touch with your fantasy life. Examine how it conflicts with your emotional nature, then put it to work for you. Balance your inner and outer worlds, and try to meet the needs of others more effectively. Your meditation is the shadow in each of us is not to be feared, but to be better known. August 6th, the day of unique happenings. Those born on August 6th have a lust for experience. They are particularly drawn to happenings of a very unique or extraordinary sort, perhaps once-in-a-lifetime occurrences, some of which seem impossible, or of an inexplicable or divine source. August 6 people may perhaps generate these experiences themselves or simply come on them by chance, take direct part in them, or just read and write about them. In any case, it is the mental or physical contact with the experience itself, the personal discovery of something long forgotten or even previously unknown, which attracts them like a magnet. Ordinary life does not hold a great fascination for those born on this day, and they quickly become bored by the mundane. In the case of August 6 people tied to ordinary jobs or less than stellar family situations, there is a danger that they will retreat into a fantasy world to get their kicks. There is also a good chance that following years of deep frustration and angst, they may finally decide to leave their stability behind and set out in search of new horizons. After making such drastic changes, an August 6th person may realize that they were never cut out for a settled life after all. Some born on this day may feel a measure of bitterness that they didn't make the discoveries sooner. Only the most successful and highly evolved of August 6 people manage to integrate their love for the unique and unusual into a stable daily life. Those who do are usually themselves creative or enjoy an occupation which is directly related to singular and uncommon occurrences. They may even have the genius to reveal the fantastic and the ordinary and to share such a unique insight with others. Because transcending the limits of earthly experience, or at the very least stretching them, holds such a central importance for August 6 people, they may display a rather intense approach to life. Indeed, their choice of lifestyle may be difficult for mates to accept, unless of course their partner shares some measure of interest in their pursuits. August 6 people may also go through changes which occur in much too rapid fashion for their mates, family, or friends to handle. Those born on this day have a great need for love and all sorts of sensual and sexual expression, but they may suffer deep disappointments in their search for a perfect mate or an ideal relationship. August 6 people are faithful friends and parents in their own way. Okay. Although they may take their responsibilities very seriously, however, they are often unable to discharge them to the satisfaction of loved ones, again because of the demands of their August 6th lifestyle. Your tarot is the Lovers. Your advice is acknowledge the fact that you will be faced with the need for compromise. In order to get the love and affection, you may have to give up some of your craving for new experiences. Develop the capacity to see things from another person's point of view. Your meditation, it is the unexpected that happens. September 3rd, the day of the mold breakers. People born on September 3rd are not always what they seem, because others so often misread their nature and potentials. Those born on this day may be forced to play roles in life which, although not always disagreeable, are not exactly what they want either. Though September 3rd people are generally multi-talented, often one of their attributes is appreciated at the expense of the rest. Physical beauty in September 3 females is a case in point. Because of good looks, their other fine qualities may go unrecognized. Men born on this day tend to be mistaken by others for an easy touch or pigeonholed by career or family status. Although they can impress others as quiet and tractable, no one who has ever tried to take advantage of a September 3rd person will forget the result. Those born on this day have a steel-like armor that seals them off from all affronts of flattery and vampirism. They may appear gentle, even a bit soft, but they will insist on being treated honorably and fairly, and vigorously resist efforts to push them around. Because their work is often of a visionary nature, exceptional people born on this day can be way ahead of their time and must understand if others are sometimes slow to approve of their methods. Fortunately, most of these mold breakers display great patience as well as confidence in the value of their work. Thus, they are well equipped to endure years without recognition while continuing on with their endeavors. Their path to wider acceptance can be made a bit smoother, however, if they take time to explain to others in everyday language what their objectives are and how they intend to get there. September 3rd people of all abilities gravitate to action and controversy. They are often quite rebellious against the systems in which they must operate, particularly when they feel misunderstood. Both their buoyant optimism and their temperamental nature have to be kept under control. Developing emotional consistency and strong willpower is essential for their success in life. In regards to matters of love and friendship, September 3rd people often display a markedly stoic attitude. They run two dangers. First, giving those close to them the impression that they don't care, and second, procrastinating when decisive action is needed. By being too accepting, they may compromise themselves in romantic affairs and let certain important life choices slip away. The greatest challenge for September 3rd people is in being more open with others and fearlessly confronting self-doubts. They should put their high moral code and sense of justice to work in defense of those who need help, rather than being defensive about what they perceive as criticism directed against themselves. If those born on this day can discover and cultivate the best in themselves and diplomatically but firmly insist on the world taking notice of it, they will be better able to gain acceptance for their novel ideas and efforts. Your tarot is the Empress. Your advice is to actively seek to do what you really want to do. Develop your self-confidence. Develop your self-confidence and assertiveness. Don't be afraid to fail. Try not to cultivate too much mystery around what you do. Take the time to explain your methods and motives to others. And your meditation is hear what others say to you, but remain in tune with your own inner voice. October 23rd, the day of conflicting karma. Those born on October 23rd are rarely able to achieve stability in all aspects of their lives. No matter how hard they try to balance their energies, there always seems to be one major area at any given time which will be out of kilter. Somehow, controversy seems to follow them wherever they go. Truth to tell, they do bore easily and so are often on the lookout for excitement. Or what appears heavily stressful or difficult to others may actually be enjoyable to them. Most October 23rd people are not so big on planning. They have a talent for improvisation and therefore tend to deal with situations as they arise. Similarly, they are rather impulsive and when they see an opportunity, don't hesitate to go for it. When those born on this day have negative or critical feelings toward the way things around them are being handled, they are likely to express their opposing points of view bluntly. Because they dislike vagueness and integrating speech, their words can sometimes offend others. Depending on their social circle, work environment, or cultural milieu, it is possible that they will be pegged as rough or unsophisticated by more genteel types. October 23rd people have an undeniable talent for setting up groups or taking over the helm of already existing ones. Because of their charisma and well-developed sense of humor, they can be popular figureheads, yet they will have great difficulty in letting go of their post when the time has come to call it quits. In like manner, those born on this day are prone to possessiveness, jealousy, and claiming behavior in personal relationships. The lesson of giving up power for its own sake and seeking the ideal of unconditional love should, as their lives progress, become more and more meaningful to them. Because those born on this day are magnetically attracted to adventure and challenge, often they take on the role of hero or heroine coming to the rescue. They frequently find themselves in the thick of exciting situations. Even the calmest and most fearless of October 23rd people have to beware of sudden instabilities, even disasters, which arise around them. Accidents of all types are commonplace to this day, so those October 23rd people who succeed are usually highly adept at handling emergency situations. Because those born on this day live active rather than static lives, with the propensity for change as well as instability, the opportunities for growth and improvement are great here. On a personal and spiritual level, October 23rd people are capable of making enormous progress in this lifetime. If not, they may become sensationalists, going from one stimulating experience to another. Staying balanced, refusing to be diverted or sidetracked, and generally finding peace within themselves are their stepping stones. Your tarot is the Hierophant. Your advice is seek stability, peace, and harmony. Don't overemphasize control. Things can sometimes be put right with your intervention. Listen to your adversaries, even enemies on occasion, and learn from them. Walk away from no-win situations. And your meditation is some places have seasons, others only climate. So with people. November 23rd, the day of irreverence. Those born on November 23rd are quick to show their displeasure with all overt forms of authority and repression. They are not ones to believe in something simply because they are supposed to. This is not to say that they are incapable of faith or adherence, but for them, it must be justified and proven in worth. If they lack respect for rules thrust on them, they may react either with silence, a few choice words, or a physical gesture that makes perfectly clear how they feel. Rarely, if ever, do they back down from a confrontation, and actually one of their biggest problems is their tendency to provoke arguments and fights. Those born on this day display a combative nature when they are around people whom they find difficult to suffer. So unless they are in the company of those they like, love, or at least respect, it is often best they remain alone. November 23rd people believe in live and let live. but if they are provoked, their reactions can be swift and severe. They are usually thin-skinned about certain sensitive issues, which can unfortunately become buttons for others to push. Part of their spiritual training thus lies in learning how to be more resistant to provocation, i.e. growing a whole new set of buttons. Most November 23rd people experience a large measure of friction with at least one of their parents while growing up. These rebellious childhood patterns usually remain with them well into adulthood, and it may take them many years, even in their 40s and 50s, before they can finally succeed in reprogramming themselves to avoid conflict. The death of a parent with whom they have not made peace or fully appreciated can be devastating. Therefore, for those November 23 people with unresolved parental conflict, there is no time like the present. November 23rd people usually have a ready wit and an excellent sense of humor. If this comic sense has not found its place in their lives, it should be developed, since it can diffuse many potentially explosive situations. When those born on this day have learned to laugh at themselves as well, they will have progressed far on their evolutionary path. Spirituality in varying forms is a theme which usually emerges in their 30s, but may continue to come to full flower for another 10 or 20 years. Through meditation and deeper forms of thought, consciousness, and understanding, November 23rd people can ultimately liberate themselves from the more negative aspects of their personalities. Paradoxically, they, the irreverent ones, show great potential for developing into highly stable, even authoritative figures. For November 23rd people, becoming established in work and family life is essential to their development. Setting up a daily structure which revolves around business or family affairs settles and calms their wilder instincts. They should, however, draw on their restlessness when it is time to move on to higher goals. Otherwise, they may get stuck and stagnate. Your tarot is the Hierophant. Your advice is get a handle on your reactions. Don't let others push your buttons. Develop objectivity, stand back and observe yourself. Never stop growing from the cradle to the grave. And your meditation is irreverence should not take itself too seriously. December 5th, the day of confidence. Those born on December 5th are immensely confident of their ability to get things done. Sometimes this confidence is justified and sometimes it isn't. Those born on this day are indeed capable of great coups, but then again, they are also capable of falling flat on their face. When they do fail, it is usually due to an unrealistic outlook, viewing prospects through rose-colored glasses rather than any failure on their part to make a valiant effort. Thus, they must come to recognize that it is not only the quality of one's efforts that makes for a successful outcome, but also planning and careful appraisal of one's endeavors' chances. December 5th people tend to be lively and dynamic types, rather charged personalities. They are often intensely focused on what they are experiencing at any given time, and because they are generous with their attention, equally eager to share such experiences with others. Indeed, they can be surprised when those close to them don't share their views or enjoy the same things as they do. Of course, as December 5th people mature, they become more tolerant and respectful of others' privacy. But this need to share intensely with another person remains. Having the sort of confidence that December 5th people manifest, of course, has many benefits. Those born on this day are relatively free of many worries and self-doubts that plague others. However, they must acknowledge those difficulties that do indeed exist, for too often they assure themselves that everything is going fine when it isn't. Their barometer should be the vibes and feedback they receive from friends, associates, acquaintances, and even rivals or competitors. Basically, they have to learn that what others say and think has significance even if untrue. Because December 5th people are active types, they are not ones to procrastinate or let things run their course. Thus, for those born on this day, judgment and self-awareness are key. It is imperative that December 5th people have a very firm, realistic idea of what their role in life is and what their objectives are. Until that time, they are apt to flounder, and despite their optimism, likely to grow discouraged. In fact, repeated failures may be a bitter but invaluable guide to realizations which form the bedrock of their experience. When December 5th people come to recognize the nature of uncertainty, admit the power of fate, and above all, develop a feeling for the irony inherent in the human condition, they will have laid a solid, dependable framework for their future actions. Your tarot is the Hierophant. Your advice is take a hard look at yourself and your circumstances. Make an inventory of your abilities if you haven't already done so. Pay attention to what others say to you. Occasionally follow their advice when it sounds reasonable. Your meditation is the strength of vision is important, but so is the ability to see things as they really are. January 29th, the day of the compassionate combatant. Those born on January 29th stand up and fight for what they believe in, but only if necessary. They have great faith in the ability of reason and human understanding to prevail in most situations and therefore attempt to work things out as best they can. Generally speaking, January 29th people are provocative only so that others can recognize the issues at hand, examine and discuss them, and make their own decisions. They are rarely, if ever, dictatorial and do not enjoy imposing their ideas on people. Probably their greatest satisfaction is both living and working together with others in harmony as a team member. For the most part, active and productive in daily life, January 29th people have a remarkably passive side underlying their nature, which on the upside makes them open and accepting of others' points of view. The downside of this is that they often stall, put off crucial decisions, and lose direction for periods of time. They're also capable of sticking with a profession they do not really like for years, rather than pushing themselves to find something better. Actually, they have a great need for security, which no matter how radical or far out they seem, remains a commanding presence in their lives. The emotional lives of January 29th people are extremely complex, perhaps because they are rarely satisfied with the status quo. For example, if they find security in a loving relationship, they may soon grow bored and desire to be free. If they live alone, preferring their freedom, they long for the kind of personal happiness and family life they see others having. Creative people born on this day may yearn for years to be recognized, yet at the same time feel that commercialism can be the kiss of death to their unusual endeavors and stifling to their sense of fantasy and imagination. As mentioned before, January 29th people are generally accepting of many points of view. However, since they will rarely reject an option at a hand without examining it first, they may have difficulties making lasting decisions. Their profound human understanding, one of their strongest talents, in the final analysis can foster ambivalent attitudes which become an obstacle to their success. Characteristically, though, these courageous individuals keep going, battling with equal effort against their own underlying doubts and society's barriers. The key to their success usually lies in building a solid ego structure tough enough to protect them and realistic enough to advance their aspirations. Your tarot is the Priestess. Your advice is toughen up a bit. The easiest way is not always the best. Don't insist that you can do without. Express your wants and expect others to do the same. How will anyone know if you don't tell them? And your meditation is life itself feels no need to compromise. February 9th, the day of vibrancy. Those colorful individuals born on February 9th are attracted by exciting happenings and at the same time generate a good bit of energy themselves. They are most often highly spontaneous and somewhat unrestrained, so it is their task to develop the capacity to buckle down when necessary. By directing their energies rather than scattering them, they can be far more productive. Also, by reining in some of their enthusiasm, they will be less likely to burn out prematurely or expose themselves to harmful influences. As family members or friends, February 9th people are often relied on to raise the spirits of those most troubled. Themselves no strangers to suffering, more highly evolved individuals born on this day are masters at taking profound, often painful experience from their past and making them the basis for an uplifting attitude that can inspire others. They also have a way of turning potentially negative situations to their advantage. Especially in later life, those born on this day are often known as people who have paid their dues and having done so, are capable of understanding the difficulties that others face with wisdom and compassion. They can often say with confidence, "I've been there before and I know what it's like." In a word, February 9th people are survivors and therefore hold out hope to those who are experiencing misfortune or struggling with life's challenges. Not surprisingly, their sympathy and insight is a highly sought after commodity in their social circle. Some February 9th people may appear beaten down by their experiences, as their body language speaks of emotional wear and tear. Yet they still struggle to remain positive and vibrant anyway. Such profound and interesting people are engaged in a constant battle between the dark and light sides of their personality. They are fighters, aggressive, explosive, and unpredictable. When they are in a great mood, it is as if the sun is shining. When not, it is best for others to disappear quickly if they can. It requires a tremendous personal effort on the part of this type of volatile February 9th person to bring the more upsetting elements of themselves under control, assuming that they have the inclination to do so. In fact, the willpower those born on this day demonstrate on specific occasions can be truly remarkable. But unfortunately, constancy and consistency of purpose can be sorely lacking. Many February 9th people are prone to self-pity and thus should avoid alcohol and other depressants like the plague. Most everyone born on this day will need to strive for stability in their lives, and part of this process involves depending on an understanding mate and or very close friends and cultivating trust in general. Your tarot is the Hermit. Your advice is keep your chin up. Don't let yourself be dragged down by the negativity of others. Conserve your energies. Consider carefully the effect you have on those around you and the demands you make of them. It is not always easy to know you. And your meditation is fate itself is the ultimate Zen master. March 17th, the day of the aerialist. Those born on March 17th live exciting lives taken up with the reoccurring themes of flying, floating, music, dance, movement, and travel of all sorts. They are quite capable of losing themselves in an activity, cause, or experience, relinquishing many demands of their ego in the process. Highly evolved individuals born on this day are able to engage in such activities while at the same time expressing a strong sense of self. Less highly evolved individuals tend to be overly self-effacing or passive, unable to direct their lives effectively. March 17th people are never happier than when they are involved in a cause, particularly one which allows them to express their social side. Without such social involvement, March 17th people have a tendency to become isolated. If they spend too much time alone, they can wrap themselves in a kind of personal cocoon, completely insulated from the cares and concerns of the world. At some point, such March 17th people must emerge from their social or personal chrysalis as fully developed butterflies, unafraid to display their uniqueness and beauty. This metaphor of the butterfly may be useful here to illustrate several other relevant points. March 17th people must learn to pursue activities with concentrated application, rather than flitting from one flower to the next. In addition, they may have to toughen their stance in order to guarantee that their projects as well as their identity and reputation last well beyond one short season. March 17th people tend to value all which is fresh and new in the world. Many born on this day tire quickly of old conventions and outdated ideas, wishing to implement new methods with youthful innocence and vigor. Unfortunately, they can run afoul of fate and also of more highly seasoned realists who, though cynical or jaded, may have a much firmer grip on the reins of power. The most highly evolved individuals born on this day manage to retain their optimism and energy while at the same time becoming more realistic and effective in implementing their plans. Often in their desire to avoid being categorized or pinned down to responsibility, March 17th people become adept at eluding those who wish to ground them. Avoidance can quickly become a device they use to defend those positions they maintain that do not stand up under close scrutiny. If they wish to be successful, March 17th people must learn to be more thorough and considered and indulge less in the mutable, less serious aspects of their nature. For a period of time, Khaleesi, get out of here. You dumbass. Okay. For a period of time, their associates, family, and friends can be enchanted by their gyrations, but will finally demand that those born on this day come to Earth and shoulder their share of mundane concerns, with all the attendant difficulties and annoyances. Through such grounded activities, March 17th people can effectively contribute to the life around them, bringing their freshness and creativity to bear. Your tarot is the Star. Your advice is ground yourself in experience. Without losing your enthusiasm, partake more in the practical areas of life. Tend to daily tasks and learn from them. Become more consequent in your endeavors. Don't make changes so readily. And your meditation, as flowers and butterflies are delicate, but also surprisingly strong. All right, thanks so much for joining me today. And thanks again if you sent in your birthday. I really appreciated it. So like, subscribe, follow me on my other platforms, and enjoy your Sunday.